Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, welcome to another Ask an Engineer. We're broadcasting live from downtown Manhattan in the secret Adafruit headquarters. I'm Lady Ada, the secret engineer with me Adabot.
Hello.
Who's on secret camera control.
Secret.
Tell them the secret show plan.
It's not a secret, we just do open source. There's no secrets.
Sorry.
Tonight's code is PC, 10% off PC. We're celebrating 30 years of the PC. We just had a show and tell. We'll talk about some of the projects that were on the show and tell and remind everyone to stop back every week to visit the show and tell. Open source hardware summit tickets are on sale and sponsorship available. Adafruit equipment was in a concert. Black Eyed Peas. We have an item from the mailbox. We have Part Finder Friday. We have ZenCard Wednesday. We have a new tutorial. We have some new products. EL tape, EL panel, as seen last week. On us not yet. Don't ask. We've got solenoids. We've got a new forum for Blinky Things. We've got a new updated product, and we've got, it's not out yet, so don't ask.
Super secret.
Really cool stuff this week. We'll answer your questions. We'll have a trivia question, and a cat, and more, all on Ask an Engineer. Okay.
That sounds like a fun show. I'm excited to do the show.
Yeah. All right, so let's first start off with the code.
Tell them the code so they can get 10% off Adafruit kits.
Yeah, anything that's a kit that we make, just add the code PC, that's capital P, capital C, on checkout. The code's PC because in August of 1981, IBM introduced the home PC. It had 16K memory, 60K floppy drive, and 11.5-inch black and white monitor. It cost $1,500. And in today's dollars, it's about $7,500.
That monitor's not black and white. It's like green and black. It was so hard even to get white phosphor. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they were like, that's white enough.
Yeah, it's good enough.
Yeah.
So there it is. We just had the show and tell, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We had a robot that was on there that talked, and you could do all sorts of cool, cool propeller project.
That was some intense.
It was a propeller project, right? I think I think the fellow said he used a propeller.
There's a propeller in the controller, and I think 2 propellers.
Yeah, really cool. And you can play video games through it and everything. And then someone used our camera that we just released like a couple days ago, and they used that for their web camera, which is really cool. Yeah. That was intense. And then,
it does work.
Yeah. Then we saw a cool project that a student did of showing how to use a piezo. That was neat. And then what other projects were on there?
Well, there was the advanced rider net, which is Hunter.
Yeah, the rider net might be Skynet. Like people might look back and the robots took the world, and it all started with managing horses. You know.
Yeah.
But he's going to sink it in mineral oil. And I thought that was cool because he had to think about, well, some of this equipment might be out in the woods and get shot. So it actually will turn itself off if it gets shot. That's cool. And then what else did we...
Yeah, the air harp.
Yeah, air harp. That was a really neat project. Check the forums for that. Someone built this really cool air harp where you could play a musical instrument.
Yeah.
You just have to mod the Arduino and use this air harp. Open source project. And let's see, what else was there? Oh, there's someone was experimenting with solar stuff, and they put it all on this enclosure.
Yeah, it's a solar lobby.
Yeah, really neat stuff that we're seeing. There's tons of things this week.
There's probably even more stuff I can't remember because there's so much stuff.
Yeah, that's the way it always goes.
It's hard to remember all of it. But we'll have a recording hopefully.
And then the thing that I thought that was really neat was the badge platform.
Oh right.
Hack the badge.
ATX.
Yeah, and you can look on our Google Plus or we'll post something up. But everybody likes to make badge platforms and do stuff, and this is really neat for hackers.
Apparently, DEF CON said this year they're not going to do an electronic badge because it was like they were doing it before it was mainstream, and so they're like, we're not going to do that anymore. Yeah.
Anyways, so every week at 9:30, check the Lady Ada Google Plus account, and if you have projects to share, stop in. This week I learned something new. If you don't add like extended circles and public, I mean, I thought I had added public. It doesn't necessarily go out to everyone, so I just added everything and everyone. Yeah. So add us to your circles. That's the easiest thing, but we'll also try to figure out. I think Google Plus might have been a little beta. Anyways, next up, the Open Source Hardware Summit, which is in about a month from now. Almost exactly a month from now. Is they have tickets, early bird tickets, and they also have sponsorship opportunities. So if folks are going to go to the Open Source Hardware Summit, which sounds like it's going to be awesome again, you can get tickets. So do check that.
Yeah, you have to pay. It's like $100 or something. I don't know.
$70, I think you can get a ticket for. Next up, this was in our forums. Someone posted this up. The Black Eyed Peas had a thing that they did with First, and these are some shots from First, and there was a robot.
There's a robot on the left there.
Yeah, there's a robot here, and it uses the Adafruit LED strips
to make it blinky.
Yeah, and within the last week, there's been a big push for musicians and celebrities to
promote
do something with First. Yeah, there was a video that we posted on our site. So it is like Dean Kamen, who founded First. I always requote him. We are what we celebrate. It's neat to see this. If every musical act starts having robots and exposing people to this stuff, maybe we'll have more people that think this stuff is cool.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I missed out on First. I graduated before First showed up, but I think I would have really enjoyed doing it. Although I probably would have totally bossed around everybody else on my team, been like, I'm going to make this robot.
Yeah,
it's going to be the best robot.
There wasn't First in my school, but one of the things that's neat is we're starting to see people recognize a problem, and you can solve it a lot of ways. And First is one of them. First isn't a government program. It's a private program.
Yeah.
And so lots of people are starting to come in and trying to solve this. And seeing musicians who, normally I don't care about the Black Eyed Peas. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can get them to play at your birthday party. They'll show up anywhere and play.
Yeah, but it's expensive.
It's expensive, but they're everywhere. For a while,
they're everywhere.
I think that's why I kind of tuned out, because it was like deodorant commercials, toothpaste, they were just everywhere. And what's cool is we're starting to see robots in First part of this.
They have intense LED suits.
Yeah. So, very exciting stuff. And then next up, this is from the Mailbag. Let me quickly get over to the Mailbag here. Sorry for the camera stuff. I messed up the whole thing. Darn it. Okay, let's get back to the for the Mailbag. Gosh, how am I going to do this now?
Why? Because you got it on the other.
Yeah. Sorry, technical issue, folks.
Can you put the cat up then, if you're going to have the technical
No, I can't put the cat up. Here we go. I think I fixed it. Sorry, it's one of those nights with Ustream and Google Plus and everything. Okay, we're back.
What? I don't even know what happened there.
Yeah, I wanted to show the Mailbag stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So one of our customers, this is kind of neat. He's in India. And we get emails all the time. There's a worldwide slowdown with
shipping. Everything is taking
so much shipping.
longer.
It's taking a long time. And most customers are pretty understanding. Usually by the time they email and say, "Hey, my package hasn't arrived," it shows up the next day. But internationally, packages are getting lost more often. They're getting maybe stolen. They're hitting customs. They're taking a long time. Countries don't have budget to staff customs offices as much, so it's things are just waiting there. So someone lost their package, and we answer emails. We have no idea if people have blogs or if they're famous or if they're gonna be happy afterwards. We just do the best we can. And someone from India, their package never showed up, and so our policy is to replace it. Kind of no questions asked. And we sent it out express mail because they used first class and it got lost. And so this time we said, well, we'll throw in express mail on the house. So this person's posted up this big thing on Reddit, which is a really popular social network site. I guess you'd call it that. Maybe social sharing, I don't know. And they posted up, what are your best customer service experiences? And this person said, Adafruit, this is the best one I've had. I guess they've ordered stuff in the past, and they always had a hassle. But that's our current policy, and for all the folks who order, if your order doesn't show up, we will eventually get it to you somehow, some way, or we'll just refund you. And that's what we've decided to do. We've done that from the start, and you don't have to fill out any forms or any craziness. We kind of just do it.
Yeah, we take care of all that. With the postal, it's not having someone do it. It's so complicated. It's where did it get lost in the U.S. or India?
Yeah.
We just take care of all the insurance ourselves, and so far it's actually been really easy because not that many packages get lost, but enough that this just speeds it up for those people. They've already waited 2 months.
Yeah, bad things happen once packages leave our studio, but when they do, we get to demonstrate we're very fast. we'll take care of it right away, and we're very fair. We even say, like, that's basically our policy. We're always fair.
Yeah.
And if it's in the U.S. and it's an emergency, we've overnighted stuff for people. Like we do the best we can.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that was kind of neat. I try to post up a mailbag thing every week, but this one someone wrote about us on Reddit, so I thought that was neat. Social news is the right category for what Reddit is. All right. Next up, Part Finder Friday, extra long mail header. Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I'll just chat about this.
Okay.
I showed this off because we actually stock the extra long mail header. That's header where both sides are really long, so you can stick it into a breadboard, and then you have pins that stick up so you can like plug in female socket headers or like servos or something. And this stuff is really handy, and we have a pack of like 5 18-pin long pieces because it's just what our, where we get our connectors from. That's what they had. But if you want to get it from DigiKey because like you're buying 500, we added it to our part finder because somebody asked us, hey, I want to get like really long header for some reason, or I want to just buy tons. So it's in our Part Finder Friday next to all the other header, and that's where you should go if you need to buy header. We try to make it a pretty good deal if you buy from us, but I mean we simply can't compete with DigiKey on the large quantities because they.
How much are these headers? Or how much are we selling
We sell ours for $3, and these are also $3, and we have like twice as much. But once you get to like the 500 quantity, like we can't have continuous discounts. Eventually, we're like we're buying it from like the same place. So if you're buying one or two, it probably makes sense to get it from us. But if you need to buy like tons, you can check it out from DigiKey. Sometimes also like you have to buy from one spot because you're manufacturing and your BOM has to come from one place or something. So these are options. And I couldn't find them on Mauser or like any other place. But if you find the links, you can anyone can add them to the wiki.
Yep. Okay. Next up, we have the ZenCart Zensday. This is creating an announcement category.
Yeah, this is for our front page. Well, we have announcements on our blog. For our blog, we have.
And I'll go to ZenCart.
Oh, yeah, let's go to the blog. So we have all these posts, and we have like 20 posts a day sometimes, 5 to 10 posts a day. But some of them are announcements, and this is like really big news or really cool stuff, and something we want to highlight, especially when we release a new project or we have a really cool tutorial. And so this mod will actually use the RSS feed, so it doesn't have to even, have access to
it appears here.
The database, and it pulls the RSS feed for the announcements category, and then just makes like a little, mini announcements segment on the front page, so you can see, the most popular post that we think is worth looking at. And this is in addition to the little ticker we have.
Yeah, we got the ticker, and then which is up here, which has multiple blog posts, and then we have this announcement. So for all the people who are running their own site, we kind of give this away for being helpful. We wish this stuff was around when we did it.
Yeah, if you're running ZenCart, OS Commerce, or actually something like this, it doesn't matter really what cart you're running. Any open source cart you can mod, you can add that in.
Okay, next up, we added a new product in the store last week or so, but now you released a tutorial. In the show and tell, someone was using this camera as their web camera, which is kind of cool. But this is the tutorial that you released for this particular camera, which is really cool. It's I think your tutorial and what you've done is the only examples on how to use this camera out there.
Yeah, I sat and spent a week reading a really awful data sheet and researching how this camera really works to make a really good tool, a really good Arduino library, and using how to learn, showing how to use the DSP tool. So this tutorial is really long, but it shows, like, for example, you can adjust the brightness, contrast, hue, saturation, and off contrast. I don't know what that is, but it gives some other kind of contrast. And I show how you can, connect this up, through an Arduino and modify it and tweak it. Also, there is a motion control, motion detection system inside the camera, and so I show how to use that as well as how to wire it up and take photos. And
I don't think anyone knew that there was motion control stuff inside of this.
I don't know that all serial cameras have motion control. The one that I get, because each one has different firmware, I think. The one I got, like, I verified that it has motion detection built in, and it definitely works. And you can actually, even using the COM tool, tweak the motion detection to make it more or less sensitive. I haven't gone through and really, like, played with that because works pretty fine out of the box, and then some hints about how to do focus and how to connect up.
Some questions about the camera?
Yeah, sure.
Do you know who makes the CMOS in the camera?
I don't. I can ask. I didn't. I don't remember to ask that from the factory. But if you email us, I'll remember to query because I have a contact with the factory engineer. I'll ask them what they use.
Does the sensor have a white balance control?
It does. It does auto white balance, and it does a pretty good job. I mean, it's not going to be as beautiful as like your Canon, or Nikon, but it does a pretty good job of balance control. So using it inside. If it's on for a bit and there's like blue fluorescent lighting or yellow incandescent lighting, it eventually will equal out and become more balanced. So I can show this photo here. This photo was taken inside. I let it normalize and then I took that photo, and that's, I think, with incandescent lighting.
Yeah, this is indoor lighting.
Yeah, it's indoors.
Yeah, pretty cool for a serial camera. Works good.
Yeah, and we're pretty happy. There's some people that are having a couple little bugs with it, but we're sure that we'll figure it out.
Yeah, software stuff right now.
The speed of the SD card does affect, if you have a slow SD card, I think you need to slow down the camera a little bit, but we'll probably update the tutorial when we figure out precisely.
Yeah.
We never had any problems, and most people didn't have any problems. And then we might get an enclosed version of this camera soon that's waterproof and has IR LEDs so you can use it outside for night vision stuff. But we have to evaluate that first.
Okay, next up we added EL tape by popular demand. I think we showed that last week. It's not out yet, don't ask.
We put it on the cat.
Put it on the cat.
We did, in fact, put
but now we have it in the store.
Yeah, and I can show this off. So this is the EL tape, and then I'm just going to drive it from this little inverter that I have. And this is the tape. So it's
we have white and blue right now, and we also have...
This is blue. You know what? They look the same because and it's interesting. Even the pictures. The picture difference between the blue and the white is not that clear. It's a little more clear in person, but this is actually aqua colored, and then there's also the white color, and we're working on getting some more colors like red and green in as well, but the brightest is going to be the blue because that's the natural EL color. And this is kind of neat because it's flat. You can cut it. You can't solder to it. That's the only downside of the EL tape. It comes with a connector, but you can't cut it and then reuse it like EL wire. But 60 centimeters is pretty good. So you have some ideas about stuff you want to do with it. Yeah. You have some fashion ideas.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool projects that were not possible to do because I didn't have a warehouse full of this stuff. Yeah. So we have white and blue, and we'll also have some other colors in.
Yeah, we'll have some other colors, but I'm getting the samples in, and I want to make sure that they look good before. Yeah.
There's a lot of EL products out there, and we have like a box full of all of them. And we wanted to make sure we got the best of the best. So this is all stuff that we really like. We think it's the highest quality. We make sure that the way it's being driven is optimized so it's as bright as possible. And
and I'll show the square.
Yeah. And someone asked, can it be spliced? Yeah, I could cut this in half.
You can cut it in half, but you can't.
I wouldn't do it plugged in, of course, but I could cut it in half.
You cannot solder to it.
Cannot solder to it. No.
But you can cut it down.
Yeah.
It's soldered and then laminated, so I've never seen anyone who's able to solder it after the fact. So you cannot cut it, but that's why we give you the longest piece possible.
Someone asked, is it possible to sew through it? It would be fine.
You can sew through it, but not... Well, you can sew through it, although I don't know...
one of the sides you might not be able to, so what I would suggest is...
Yeah, on the edge,
testing.
if you look at the photo very carefully of it off, it's encased in plastic, and if you have a pretty good sewing machine and you're careful, you can sew along the edge, not touching the EL, just going through the plastic that's laminating it. Yeah. So you can do that with this tape.
We got a couple of questions here. Could you use a pick to blanket for the?
Yep, you would use a triac.
And this blinks now with the built-in inverter. I mean, you could say.
Yeah, it does do fast blink and then slow blink.
Yeah.
You can use a triac to control it just like any other EL.
Next up, suggestions for a backpack comfortable battery for the panel.
We're working on that.
Yeah, we'll have
something to
my intention is to wear this a lot in many different ways. So we'll have, I know.
On your head.
It's not out yet, don't ask. But we'll have lots of options, and we think some of the best options to power something like a panel.
Yeah. So yeah, this panel requires a really big inverter, which comes with it. So you need 12 volts, which is 8 AA batteries, but we're going to try to get a AA battery holder that works pretty well and keeps your batteries.
So yeah, the next item was the panel.
Oh right. Yeah, this is kind of fun. So you can cut the panel if you want, but that'll save you power. So if you want to, if you have a simple design like a circle or a triangle, you can cut that out, and that will make the runtime longer because you have less panel you're lighting. But what we suggest you do if you don't want to damage is you can print on a transparency.
Yeah.
And then you Sharpie the transparency and then cover this to mask it, or you can use like a vinyl cutter and then mask it with your design. And we have some links on the blog, which some people posted up some links of projects that use an EL panel and how to make it do the design you want.
Yeah. So it's really neat stuff. I'm pleased. It's been a really long time for us trying to find what we wanted with EL. So we've got great EL wire, tape, panels, and we'll probably have some more options soon too.
Okay. It's really glowy.
Yeah, very glowy. Next up, that's the included things with the. Oh no, I'm sorry. We
updated.
We updated our EL wire.
Yep. It just comes with more.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, solenoids. So we've got a large one and a small one now.
Yes.
And we went through tons of these to find the best ones out there. So I was considering doing a segment. If it's not from Adafruit, it's crap. But I don't want to start that. So we've got the two best ones we think right now. So I'll go to the overhead.
Yeah, I wanted to show. This is the small solenoid, and I just wanted to show this is a basic driver circuit, and I'll put the schematic up in a second. But it's a power MOSFET, a resistor just to pull the gate down, a button, and then a protection diode. And I'm going to plug in this solenoid and then use this to demo it. So this is a push-pull solenoid, and right now it's not activated, so I can press it and there's a return spring, so this side pushes, that side pulls, and it springs back. And if you give it 12 volts, it's actually a 24 volt servo, but 12 volts is fine. You can see I press the button and then the voltage goes to the MOSFET, and you've got a clicky thing. And this solenoid I really like because it has mounting holes on it, and this is the only one I could find that had these really big mounting tabs. They all have mounting holes on them, but these ones are like nice big tabs that are really easy to connect to. And it's got a captive push-pull armature, and I want to show the differences between that and a non-push-pull. So this is the same size, but it's a pull only, and you can tell because there's nothing coming out the other side. And not only that, but the armature is loose. So this would be only good if it was upright, and so it would be pulling something down and the armature couldn't come out. But I don't like solenoids like this so much, even though these are much less expensive because you don't have to have this captive part, and you don't have to worry the whole thing coming through, and they're easier to make. But I don't like these. I like to have the option of either push or pull. And then this is threaded actually.
Yeah. A couple quick questions. How much force can it handle?
Look at the product page, because each one has, I don't remember, it's like 5 newtons for this one and 15 for the other one, if you're using it at the max voltage.
Yeah. Someone says make sure that you need a flyback diode.
There's one right here.
One right there. Yep. Next.
I'll show the big one.
Martin had mentioned something. The large solenoid is good for an access control system, which is true. That's what a lot of people do stuff. Security system blocks.
And this is the big solenoid.
Yeah.
So I just want to show this one as well.
And then, how do you figure out what type or size of diode you need for protection?
The diode just has to handle the max current that you're putting through. For any of these, a 1 in 4,000 one will be totally fine. That can handle like up to like 2 or 3 amps peak, which is way more than we're putting through here. So this is the big one.
Press it. Clunk.
So that's
a nice clunk.
This one has a much bigger throw, and it's also much stronger. Wow, wait, I actually can't. There you go.
It's a workout.
Yeah. So this is a much chunkier servo, and it has mounting holes on the bottom. It doesn't have tabs. I couldn't find one with tabs, but it's also a push-pull, and it's got this really nice. I don't know what the name for this is. It's sort of slot and hole so you can attach things easily to the pull section. But this takes a lot more current. It's a little more expensive too because there's a lot more copper.
What's the voltage on that one?
They're both 24 volts, but you can run them from like, I think I ran them at 9 volts and they worked okay. They're just going to be slower, and they're not going to be as strong. So if you want like the max, push power, you want to have 24 volts, but 12 volts is probably okay. I mean, it depends if you're pulling something or if you just want to like, for example, a lot of people make xylophones and stuff or drums that use a solenoid to actuate. For that, it may be okay to use a lower voltage. And then I wanted to show all these solenoids that we didn't go with.
These are the ones that are crap.
Jeez. So whenever we get something, I often don't show all the other options, but we actually go through a whole bunch of different parts and sizes. And so I tried all these, and these are just the ones I picked out that I thought might be okay. There was like another dozen that I didn't even bother getting because I was like, it's not going to be okay. From this little guy, which I thought was cute, but just wasn't very powerful, and I'm not sure that it's very useful. To this, which is a little smaller than this guy, to this one, which is only a pull type. This one, which has this different kind of threaded hammer, which I didn't like so much. And this one, which didn't have the mounting tabs, so I didn't get that one. This one, which is smaller than the guy we got, and I decided that for the price, I might as well just get the biggest one that was made. This one, which was kind of in the middle size, and I figured, you should only have a small and a large. I didn't want to get a medium. So these are the ones that didn't make it through the selection process. But I thought that'd be interesting to show off. We have like a big box like solenoids, and it's just full of solenoids. So.
Okay. Does anyone have any solenoid questions before we move on?
Oh, you know what? Maybe I should. I'll just show quickly how to power a solenoid because I have this up here.
Okay.
So I'll just show basically what.
Is there any other bigger solenoids?
There are bigger solenoids, but these are for getting a push-pull type that I thought would be easy for people to use. I thought this was kind of my selection process. Yeah. And these are the ones. I mean, solenoids get as big as you want. I mean, there's industrial use solenoids, but I thought that most people don't need a massive solenoid. They're not pulling 500 pounds of steel around. They're just making a simple project. So
and we're going to have something on the site on how to set this up. I guess a tutorial.
We do have a
diagram.
We do have a diagram. Yeah. So this is maybe 12 to 24 volts DC, and then you can use this is the solenoid here. I just draw it as a coil because that's kind of what it is. It's just an inductor. It's a coil, and then this is a 1N4001, and then you can use a transistor. I would suggest like a TIP 120, which is just a really, really cheap transistor, and then you can give this maybe give you 100, maybe 200 ohms. I don't have to figure out the ideal, but if you connect this to your microcontroller, you can use this to to basically ground this connector, and then when you release, you just want a way for. I think this diode is the right way. I have to look at the diagram, but I'm pretty sure it points out. You want to have a way for the current that's stored in the inductor to get out, because when you release a solenoid from a voltage, the current, without getting into like the heavy physics, the voltage across the inductor spikes. That's actually how you make a boost converter, but in this case we don't want that. So that's why you need to have a flyback diode or a protection diode. In my case here, I'm actually using a MOSFET, and then I have this is a switch, and then I have a resistor going to ground, like a 10K resistor going to ground. And so you can do this as well, and this is also fine. This will turn your and this is an N channel power MOSFET. And so this is another way. You can use either a transistor or a FET. I kind of prefer FETs, but they're a little more expensive.
Does the body diode in the MOSFET eliminate the need for the flyback diode?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you still need it.
Any code considerations like the bouncing?
No, I mean solenoids are really slow. They're way slower than your switch. So I don't think you have to worry too much about debouncing.
Okay.
But it depends.
Everyone's saying no.
Yeah. Solenoids are very slow. I mean, I don't know if you saw in the video, but when you pulse it, you have to, because you're voltage controlling the inductor, you have to shove current into it, and it acts like you have to charge up the inductor, basically the flux inside of the inductor. It takes quite, I don't know the speed of it, but it does take quite a few milliseconds. So it's, most switches bounce in under like 2 to 3 milliseconds. So it's going to be a lot slower than that. And of course the speed changes with the voltage as well. And I'm only running enough of 12 volts or 9 volts here.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Moving on?
Yeah, sure.
All right. We have a new forum for Blinky things.
Because we have so much Blinky.
Because we have so many Blinky things now. Let me see if what I'll do is I'll just go there real quick. So this is our new forum for Blinky stuff. It's in the forums.adafruit.com, and all of the questions and customers who need help with their LEDs, LCDs, TFTs, EL stuff have a new forum, new home here, and it's working out really good. Because, speaking of, we recently updated one of our products, and because we like to upgrade stuff and make things better, sometimes it's hard to explain what's new and different. So this is the new RGB LED waterproof strip, and this one has PWM. It can do a bunch of colors, and you can explain all the new things with it. But it's a good upgrade, and I think it's the only strip that does this out there right now.
I haven't been able to find any other LED strip made with this chip. I think this, as far as I can tell, is the only one you can get, especially at this price. So the strip we had before used this chip called the HL1606, and that chip is very similar to a 74HC595. You can latch data down the strip and it will turn the RGB LEDs on or off, but it doesn't have built-in PWM. So if you want to have your LED strip have multiple colors, you actually have to write to the strip many times a second, like 1 kilohertz rate, to make it look like PWM, which actually works okay, except when you get to really long strips. Well, there's all this stuff here. When you get to really long strips, it didn't look very good because it takes time to write to the strip, and you have to write it really fast, and you can only do like 4 bits of LED PWM resolution. So people who are using 1 meter, it would be okay, but once you get to 5 meters, that's a lot of, it's 160 LEDs, and the latch chips were very slow. So this LED strip has PWM built into it, and so if I put it here, you can see that it's slowly changing color, and it's doing so very smoothly. And I don't know if it's going to work, but I don't know if we use the video.
What chip does it use?
This uses the LPD 8806.
Yeah, 8806, and can you solder to it?
Yes, you can solder it. This is the strip without the covering, because I wanted to show you can see you can solder to it. But you can see if I shake it, you don't see the PWM artifacts. That's because the PWM is happening at like 1 megahertz. It has a really high speed, although not very precise, oscillator on the inside. So you push the PWM down, and there's 7 bits per LED, so you actually write the PWM data to the strip instead of the just LED on or off, and then you just say like, go for it, and each chip PWMs 2 LEDs at the same time. So yeah, we had problems with the older strip because people with really long strips couldn't get the full color they wanted. So we went to the factory and said, hey, can you make a version that has a PWM chip like the WS2801? And they said, oh, we have something much better. And I'm like, great, that's what we want. And so that's why we have this strip. So this strip is really nice because you can run as much as you want, full PWM, and you don't have to have a fast microcontroller.
Okay, some questions and some stuff. Are they individually addressable?
Yeah, each LED is individually addressable. I think I'm running out of power here.
Next up, I have the old version of these. Can I still use them underwater as long as the electronic end is protected?
The coating itself, which I can show here, the covering itself is completely waterproof. It's like a silicone covering. But yeah, you have to watch out that the end you have to make sure that there's no way for water to leak in. So either keep that above water, that's like the easiest way to do it, or just like caulk the hell out of it.
Yeah. Next up, is there sample code on the website?
Yes.
We have a full tutorial.
We have a full tutorial.
Yeah. Next up, so SparkFun has a PWM one. It's $45 with 32 LEDs. That one's different though.
The difference is that the WIS 2801, because we originally, that's like this LED driver chip that most people know. The problem with the WS 2801 is it does a really good job at PWM, but it only does one LED at a time. So if you have an LED strip that has 32 LEDs, you need to have 32 chips. And the chips are the most expensive part because it's like a chip. And like I think they're like 50 or 60 cents each or something, or I don't know, something like that in quantity. So the nice thing about this strip is that because it uses only like one chip for 2 LEDs, using one chip for 2 LEDs, the price is the same as before, but it has like all the colors.
Yeah.
So, and this type also comes in a long strip. So we have like full reels of 5 meters, and we'll cut them for you. So if you want like a really, really long strip, this type comes in a long strip, and the kind with the WS2801 is only 1 meter at a time.
Yeah. How does encoding white balance work with these?
The white is actually pretty good. It is balanced for you already. I don't have it set up to do white right now. It does a color cycle, but when we put it on white, because we wanted to test like what happens if you put it on white, it was white. It was not blue. It wasn't green or red. It was actually a pretty good white. There's resistors on there, and they tweak them to make the color really balanced.
All right. Next up, does the belt come with this new strip?
We don't have the belt in stock because it doesn't, and I have to update the tutorial. But when it comes back into stock, it'll use the new stuff.
Can you cut this down to size?
Yeah, it has little cut divisions every 2 inches. So if you see that line right there, you can cut and then solder to those pads. And there's like every 2.5 inches, there's another cut. So every chip. So you can cut and connect it and disconnect it and do whatever you want.
Okay. How much current when all the lights on full white?
Check the tutorial. We have calculations on how you can determine exactly how much current you need.
Okay. Can you bend them to put the diodes close together to each other?
I don't exactly know what you mean, but I think no. It comes like this, and you should keep it pretty much curved or straight. You don't want to start like kinking it.
Okay.
Heavy duty.
How long does it usually run? Oh, well, no, this is a question about the show. Okay. Next up, you could probably put them in parallel. Someone answered. I think he was trying to interpret what.
Yeah, if you need to have them close together, I would take 2 meters and then just put one next to the other, and then offset it by like half, and that's really close. Like these are like 1 inch apart, so you'd space them so that the second meter is.
How long do the LEDs last?
I don't know, like 100,000 hours. I don't know.
Yeah.
1 million hours. Actually, I don't know exactly. They last a really, really long time.
Yeah.
I don't know the actual number, but they last about as long as any other LED, which is long.
How much does this cost?
This costs $35 a meter, or $30 a meter, I think, if you buy 5, because we don't want to have to cut the strips as often as.
Yes, you could make a display with these. A very
the
cool display.
nice thing about this is that first off, not only does it do PWM, so it's like much easier to microcontroller, but you can do light painting a lot easier because it has full color. You can do persistence of vision stuff. I think it's actually fast enough. We haven't experimented it, but I think you can actually do pretty good POV stuff. Although light painting is like POV but slower, so that definitely will work.
And what's the lumens?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably on the.
I don't even know if it's on the data sheet.
Yeah.
Each LED is about 2,000 millicandela total. But like I don't know the lumens.
Manufacturers always
they also,
put the wrong thing for lumens.
Yeah, it is really bright. I'm really happy with this LED strip, but getting them to give me the data sheet has been a little annoying because they don't like to do that. Because they're selling this to like just like designers and architects. It's not meant to be sold to engineers who are like, okay, tell me precisely what the forward voltage is. They're like, oh, that's like. Yeah. We don't want to tell.
The lumens. Someone said it's painful because they're really bright.
It's bright enough that if you put it on all white and you stare at it like I did, it kind of hurts your eyes.
Yeah, cataract.
I wouldn't do it.
All right.
I do it for you, so you don't have to.
Everybody's favorite segment. It's not out yet, so don't ask. Everything we show during the segment, don't ask. It's not out yet.
Thanks for the reminder. All right, so I'll show 2 things.
All right.
One is an update. So this is Something cool that we're going to have in the store shortly, it's these little storage boxes. I found the factory that makes these, and they're little storage bins that you can use to store your electronics. These are the anti-static ones, and there's a little spring, and these are really nicely made, and they snap together, so you get as many as you want, and then like I'm not going to be able to really take this apart very easily, but
yeah, they're kind of spring-loaded, which is
spring-loaded. Yeah, I have to.
What are you trying to do?
I can't do it on. You have to have it like on your to take this apart, but they do come apart. Although I wouldn't take them apart and put them back together tons of times, but you can arrange them however you want. And yeah, there's like a big bin, and then there's a medium bin, and then there's like small, and then there's like the teeny ones. So these are really popular with people for storing their electronic parts because you can arrange them however you like. And they're what's nice about them is that there's never the risk of like opening it and then it falling, and then everything falls out because you only open one box at a time.
I like doing this. This is almost as fun as popping shipping bubbles. It's the same. It's the same thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
For your assistance. So that's one fun thing that we'll have shortly. All these different. This is the one that I got for sample, so I could try it out.
Yeah.
And
okay.
then
Not yet.
What?
The next thing is also not out yet.
The next thing is also not out yet.
This made an appearance once, didn't it?
It did. Oh wait, I have to plug. Oh wait, I forgot. I have to have two power plugs.
I will show this off while we're.
Yeah. Why don't you keep?
Yeah. Do you want me to?
Hold on.
Yeah. So I just took this apart so you can see. You can.
Oh yeah.
Assemble different sizes. Oh, you're ready?
I'm almost ready. Let me get my other power plug. Okay, so then this is the LED matrix.
All right, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good. And I'm writing code for it and getting it working. And right now it's running a really, really slow plasma demo. But I'll have it probably in the shop really soon. We have all the displays, and I've been messing around with getting it to do PWM color. Unfortunately, these displays don't have PWM built in. It's so bright, it's kind of messing up. Yeah, that doesn't even work. This is probably the best option. These displays are so bright that they kind of mess up the camera, but that's okay. They don't have PWM built in. None of them do. They're meant to be run by FPGAs because they're just like massive video display boards. But you can make them do color just by manually PWMing it by refreshing the display constantly. So I got it to do 9-bit color on an Arduino, which is definitely the max that the Arduino can handle, because that's a lot of refreshing of 512 LEDs. But it can do it in the background as an interrupt, and then you can update it. But I have to port this plasma code from floating point to fixed point, and hopefully it'll be fast enough to look good. So yeah, this is kind of neat. So this is the LED panel. Yeah. It's hella bright. Yeah, it's not diffused at all. Okay, great. So that's what I had to show.
Okay.
No questions.
No questions about this. But
no questions.
We'll answer a question. What FPGA do you recommend?
We don't know. We're thinking of actually carrying an FPGA dev board, and we finally decided which one we think. So hopefully we'll have that in the shop in a few weeks. I want to actually experiment with FPGAs because I never got to do FPGA stuff. I kind of skipped those classes, and I did the analog stuff instead. Yeah. But I'd like to go and experiment with that.
It's interesting because I think we're starting to see people kind of go on a timeline, and they're doing really advanced stuff, and this is the next thing.
Yeah.
FPGAs.
It's interesting that the there's artifacts from the PWMing. You don't see it in person, but the video camera picks it up. Yeah. Video cameras and PWM do not get along.
Just to show the size, I mean, you can show it. Yeah, you can show something that has a standard size.
I can show my Arduino next to it.
Yeah.
That's an Arduino.
That's an Arduino next to it.
So yeah, it's 32 by 16 RGB LEDs.
Yeah.
It's really bright. Yeah, these are meant for video screens. This is what you see on the, I don't know, in New York at least.
The side of a bus in New York.
Yeah, we have them on the sides of buses. Yeah, it's really bright. You can kind of see it. Maybe if I get it really close, it'll...
Oh, looks cool. Look at that.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, so it's really slow plasma. You can see it's moving really slow. I like how it's like ghosting.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's a really bright display.
All right.
Painful. I gotta turn this off.
It is now time for general questions, or did you have anything else?
I think that's it.
That's it. All right. General questions, general engineering questions. LED or plasma? I think that's a question about that thing. So. I've been gone for 2 months. Can you give me a summary of what has happened in that time at Adafruit and otherwise? Gosh, I don't know. Just go through the blog and just keep hitting back.
Yeah.
We do. There's a lot of stuff going on. Lots of new products. Just tons of things. Jeez. There's been a lot going on. We started the show and tells. Maybe that's kind of the biggest thing in the last couple of months. So Google Plus came out. You got kicked off. Then Google put you back on there because your name had Lady Ada in it. And then we've been doing the Hangouts. I think that's the news.
I think I showed off everything on this massive table. There's just a table full of crap here. It's just overflowing.
You know a way to make a LiPo charger for 2-cell, 7.4 volt LiPos. I want to make a simple IC and circuit, much like the ones for single-cell chargers that I can embed in my project's PCBs.
Yeah, you can use the USB DC LiPo charger we use, like the MCP 871. They have a 8.4/7.4, whatever that number's supposed to be. Charger. It's like a dual cell charger for 8.4 or 7.4 LiPos or lithium ions, and it's SOIC, and it's pretty easy. So you can follow our schematic, but then swap in that chip, and that's pretty good. Pretty much good to go.
Okay. Next up is it safe to trickle charge a 6-volt sealed lead acid battery with a 9-volt solar cell indefinitely?
I think people do that. I think, but I'm not exactly sure. I have seen like 9-volt panels to be used with 6-volt cell. Well, first off, you need to have a diode anyways. But you should check 6-volt cells. There is a charge voltage, a charge flip voltage. You can look that up on Wikipedia. I don't remember how much it is, but it's like 2.5 volts per cell. And then you can figure out when you have your solar panel minus the blocking diode, or 2, if you need to lower the voltage, just make that the flip voltage. But lead acids are very forgiving, so probably whatever you do would be okay.
Okay. Next up, what's the cheapest Arduino out there, or derivative?
I mean, they get as cheap as you want. If you want just the chip and a crystal, that's a derivative. There's so many ranges. Each one I think is a very fair price, but they have different options or variabilities. Like there's an Arduino Ethernet coming out, and that costs a lot more than the Arduino, but it has Ethernet built in. So that's kind of cool.
Next up, do you have a buck booster you recommend? I've tried the Max 1701 with the 3.3 batteries and the Hack the Badge, but even with a 150 microhenry inductor, it tended to fade the batteries quick.
It depends a lot about what you're using with your batteries. If you're using a coin cell, I mean, nothing is going to work very well because it's a coin cell. It's really not meant to be driven really hard, especially if you're boosting it up to like 5 volts or something. You're drawing a lot of current, and those things have a high internal resistance. So that will cause it to heat up, draw more current. Any buck boost converter will work fine. I mean, all the popular makers like Maxim and Linear and On and Analog or whatever, they all make good ones, but you have to follow the data sheet and spec all your parts properly. Being sloppy is one place where efficiency will suffer greatly.
Okay. Next up, thank you for putting an extra battery output on the LiPo charger.
Okay, great.
Can a resistor for an LED go after the LED and hook into ground?
Yep, it's okay to have the resistor either before and after. It doesn't matter because it's choking the total current, and in that situation, it doesn't matter whether the LED is connected to ground or the resistor is connected to ground, as long as they're in a string.
Okay. I'm trying to make an autonomous robot out of an RC car. If I put my laptop in an Arduino, can I run processing to do the color tracking? Maybe.
Yeah, sure. It's going to get really heavy. You can do it. You might look at something like a Chumby or something that is a microcontroller / Linux embedded device board that might be able to do both. But it depends. If you're just building stuff out of junk you have in the house, then an old laptop will definitely do the job.
All right, speed round. We got to go in turbo. We got a lot of questions, and we're going to run out of time. You ready? Are you ready?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Where is there info for using processing with Arduino?
I think on the Arduino site there's a bunch of tutorials, but if you Google, there's just tons of examples.
I think there's a book from Make coming out or is out now too. If the JD sheet drawing says view from mounting side, does that mean it's underside of the PTH board?
Yes, I believe that means it's from the bottom.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't know. It's hard to tell. You should double check. That's confusing.
Do you know if there's shields for the Teensy?
I don't think so. But it plugs into a breadboard, so it doesn't really make sense. You know, you just.
Yeah. What's the best way to get into XBs?
We have a lot of XB tutorials. You can start with those, like how to, run a solenoid or a relay, or talk to an Arduino. So an Arduino and 2 XBs will get pretty far.
Next up, what's the range of an XB?
It depends a lot on what kind of XB. The 900 megahertz go farther. The pros go farther. Classic XBs are like up to I think 50 to 100 feet.
Yeah. What is the best AT Tiny tutorial?
I don't know.
Can I make my own XB?
You could, but a lot of times it's easier to use a chipset. If you really just want to go crazy, you can get an AVR. I'm assuming using AVR or a PIC that has built-in RF, and then you would have to do all the protocol stuff to handle in the error correction. But it is possible to do.
Okay. Next up, is there a way to program the Arduino through Ethernet or Bluetooth Shield?
I don't know of any way to do that at this time. I think you have to use USB.
Someone has a problem with the DIY version of the Minty Boost. Can you help me, or better in the forums? The forums are for customer support. You can post up, but if the DIY versions, it's hard for us to support because it's not a kit.
I've never seen anyone with a DIY version get it running. It's really not easy.
Yeah.
We have to focus our attention on customers. If you build it with a kit and it doesn't work, we can get it running, but if you're doing a DIY because you're trying to save money, then you probably skipped something.
Next up, what can you recommend for really long RF communications? Using XP Pro 900 megahertz, it seems the furthest available for projects.
That is going to be really far. You can use 2-meter like ham radio stuff if you have a license, and that'll go really far, just because you can have higher power. But if you don't want to have a license and you're just trying to broadcast, the 400 megahertz stuff should go farther, but you have to get ones that are amplified really well.
Okay, next up, we found the conflict between the Ethernet shield and the wave shield. When Ethernet shield is used, it throws its cable select pin high and keeps it there, thus hogging the SPI bus. Is there a way to force the CS pin back down?
I don't know. We've never tested the Ethernet shield with a wave shield. I'm not sure that it would work at all. You can post in the forum and try to help you, but there's hundreds of shields, so not all of them are going to be compatible.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what happens is more like the Ethernet.
I don't even think there's enough RAM, to be honest, to run both.
It might be. That one might be pushing it. Can you program the Arduino through a network Wi-Fi?
I don't think so.
Someone mentioned, O'Reilly did a video on processing Arduinos. That's good. I think you've answered this before, but what make and model do you use for the chat? They're Logitech, the $99 Logitech. Whatever Logitech has for $99 the cameras I got.
You had a budget of $100.
Yeah, per camera.
Max budget line item, $100.
Someone said there are Teensy shields. That's good to know. Post up links to those in the chat. What do you think of the G Node? I have an opinion about it. I love the guy's site.
Yeah.
I assume it's a guy. I think it's a guy. I love the guy's site. It's awesome because he posts up everything and it has the process, and it really exposes open source hardware in a really cool way. I've not used one, but I'm a fan of the blog.
I'm assuming it's a technical. I haven't used one, so I don't know, but it probably works okay.
It's on my list, but next up. Your solar lithium-ion charger, what version of the MCP 73871 does it use? There's a difference, and it has a safety timer and our LBO voltage of 3.1.
Yep, there's no safety timer on it because with solar it can take forever to charge. And there is a low battery detector built in at 3.1 volts.
Okay. All right. I think we're going to... Oh, if I want to control my ceiling fan with at Mega, what relay would you recommend?
I'd recommend getting a power switch tail, which is all enclosed and safe, and you just plug in, from your microcontroller, and you're ready to go.
Okay. All right. Whew, you got through.
Okay, great. You didn't think I could do it.
That was a lot of questions. All right.
A lot of them I didn't know, so does it?
Yeah, the ones that we
That's
don't
easy.
know are easy, or like the ones that we have to ask for folks to post in the forum. Those are even easier. Okay.
Yeah, if you have a question about a product like a teensy, you should. I would suggest emailing the person who made it. I don't keep track of every
for teensy stuff.
teensy
Paul does a good job,
project
but he
or-
also pops up in our forum, so that's
yeah,
cool too.
like XP has forums. If you have XP questions, you should post them in their forums because they can help you picking the. Right, I'm not an XP sales rep, so I don't know the entire line of XPs.
Yeah, we like the ones we stock.
Yeah.
All right, it is trivia question time.
Okay.
Trivia question. You want to do the rolls?
Yeah, sure. If you're a friend of ours, you can't enter this contest because we give you free stuff anyways. If you've entered this contest and won something, please do not enter again. Go get a sandwich and come back to the cat so that other people can win a fabulous, wonderful prize. Today's prize is
What do you want to give away?
we're going to give away
A panel.
a panel.
A panel.
Oh, right. You get a panel with an inverter and a little
Yeah, this is a cool prize. Plug it in.
EL panel.
Plug it in.
Oh, wait.
Can you plug it in? We have so many things going on here.
Yeah, there's so much stuff going on.
All right.
This,
So this.
you get a panel.
Yeah, you get this panel.
You get this going panel, and
what
because
else?
we have a lot of extra stuff, you get 1 meter of the old LED strip, which is still totally good and fine. We just can't sell it anymore because we're only going to sell the new stuff, and we have like 10 meters of this left over. So you get 1 meter.
All right, 1 meter of that, and then this. Okay, so this question is from John Janier. He's the author of this question, so if you don't like it, you can complain to him. Ha.
Yeah,
No.
he's in the chat.
But here is the question. You thought it was a pretty good one, right?
Yeah, this is an intense quiz. This is for the EEs out there.
Yeah. Okay, it's a 2-part question. You have to get both parts right.
Oh, boy.
All right? What filter design provides the flattest response in the passband, and in a low-pass configuration, how many zeros does it have?
That's a hint. This image is a hint.
So it's 2 parts. So you got to get both parts, put it in the same sentence. Signals and systems, no.
What's the name of this filter?
It's the name of this filter.
What's the name of this filter?
It's the flattest response in the passband, and in a low-pass
Open up
configuration.
your Horace and Hill and look in like chapter 3,
Yeah.
where they compare the filters and then use your matching technology.
Yeah. So,
This one's all too hard.
no,
I didn't
people
know
are
this.
getting the first part right. Someone's getting closer, but yeah, you guys are getting really close, but we gotta wait.
You're so close.
All right.
How many zeros does it have? And what is the name of this filter? Not poles, zeros.
Okay, extra Warriors, you got it. Butterworth and 0 zeros is the answer. All right, yay. Okay, extra. I can't get his name. Okay.
All right.
Ooh, this is a good one.
This is a Butterworth filter. And it has 0
Excavator-
zeros.
Excavator EE, yeah.
Which you can actually see here. This was a trick because if you knew it was a Butterworth, there's only like 4 filters, right? There's like this and the Chevy and whatever, and then you can see that there's no zeros because it's just a drop, and this looks like it's just like 1 pole, 2 pole, 3 pole, etc.
Keep talking.
And in the passband, you don't see that there's any zeros up there. There's some over there. There you go. This is backwards. But yeah, and so you get this glowy square. And that's why you don't see any ripple in the passband either, which is kind of handy.
Okay. It's time for a cat. That's what everybody's here for. Alright. Maybe you could put the glowy panel right underneath him so he glows.
Oh my god. This poor cat. He's really freaked out. Hello?
A glowing cat.
I don't know if he likes that.
Alright.
And why did he pick this question?
Because it was hard.
No, because he realized that it's Butterworth's birthday this week.
Oh, it was okay. It was a birthday thing. I should have known that. All right, want to put the tape on the cat? All right, thank you everyone who showed up at the show and tell. Thank you for George and John for helping out with the chat. The show recordings will be up later on in the week, and we'll be back here next week. In 2 weeks, we're celebrating our 2 years of doing Ask an Engineer. That's pretty cool. Get your projects ready next week, 9:30. Don't forget, show and tell. And that cat's chilling. It's like the coolest cat collar in the world. Okay. And we'll see everybody next week. Here is your moment of Zener. Oh yeah, the code's PC.